the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they want to.
Come on, hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC.
One of the duties of ICPC is to study and review systems of ministries, departments and agencies in order to block loopholes that facilitates corruption. This task rests on the shoulders of the Planning, Research and Review Department of the Commission. This department also has the responsibility of monitoring the implementation of the Strategic Action Plan of the Commission, carry out research on corruption and its effects, as well as other duties. Today on the program, we shall examine the functions of the Planning, Research and Review Department of ICPC. We shall also bring you some anti-corruption stories from around the world. We have Know the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 and many more. My name is Murna Barnabas Atiai. In the meantime, Hawasani Garba is standing by to bring us updates on the war against corruption.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they want to.
Come on, hand for corruption.
Welcome to this segment of your program, Corruption Must Go. A former official of the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation, Mela Ol Agabus, has been docked before Honorable Justice Mary Ann E. Aneni of the FCT High Court 12 sitting in Maitama, Abuja, by ICPC for defrauding 2 job seekers. Agabus, who was dismissed from service in 2009, was alleged to have fraudulently collected monies amounting to the sum of 2,500,000 naira from one Polycarp Onwubuya and Okwanazo Enebili for the purpose of securing employment for them with the Nigeria Immigration Service and Nigerian Communications Commission respectively. In a 12-count charge filed by ICPC, Counsel to the Commission, Mr. Dennis Idoko, averred that the offences were contrary to Section 320 and were punishable under Section 322 of the Penal Code Law, Cap 89. The accused was further alleged to have, at one time, forged an authorization letter using the letterheaded paper of the Auditor General of the Federation and the forged signature of the then Auditor General of the Federation, Mr. O.R. Ejenavi, and used it to carry out an unauthorized audit of the Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Aro, Abeokuta. The offense contravenes Section 363 and is punishable under Section 364 of the Penal Code Law, Cap 89. Agabus was also alleged to have collected the sum of 874,000 naira from the Chief Medical Director of the Psychiatric Hospital while carrying out the illegal audit, an offense that contravenes Section 366 and is punishable under Section 364 of the Penal Code Law, Cap 89. Agabus pleaded not guilty to all the charges preferred against him. His counsel, Mr. C.O. Ogar, asked the court to grant his client bail. The trial judge, after listening to the submission of both counsel, granted the accused bail in the sum of 2 million naira and a surety in like sum. The case was thereafter adjourned to 19th July 2017 for commencement of hearing. ICPC has concluded plans to train people at the grassroots to actively engage in budget processes as a tool for socio-economic development. The project, which will kick off this June, is funded by the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, and will cut across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. ICPC spokesperson Mrs. Rashidat Okodua MNI, who revealed this at the pre-execution meeting with civil society organizations in Abuja, said that the purpose of mobilizing the grassroots was for them to be able to take actions that can impact on the progress of their communities and to ensure that budgeting responds to the needs of the people.
For the masses, the budget must be demystified. Part of the demystification process is the language you are going to use to teach them. Don't make it seem like one big thing. If you come down to the level and start telling the budget, you never heard the word budget before, I'll tell you. When you get money, you go to market or whatever, and you plan how much market will initially are a trader, and you say, okay, I'm going to buy goods worth this much. Where will I get the money from to pay for these goods? Am I going to borrow money? Am I going to take it on credit? That's all part of budgeting processes. If you tell your husband, this is how much I need for housekeeping, it's because you have thought in your mind, you have calculated how much these things go for in the market. It's all part of the issue of budget. So when you bring it down to that level, they will understand it. The budget must be demystified, understood, and its importance as a tool for economic development must be appreciated before they can effectively engage in the process. People must understand it's meant for your development. It is part of why things should go well in your local government.
In her address, the country director UNDP, Mrs. Mandisa Mashologo, who was represented by Mr. Segun Olushola, told CSOs to recognize that their role is very crucial in nation building. He reminded the participants that the project was approved based on the previous success stories that the ICPC-UNDP partnership on training the grassroots on budget engagement had produced.
Your role as civil society organizations is very crucial in nation building, and hence no amount of capacity building will be too much to enable you to play your role effectively. It is in the light of this and based on our mandates as United Nations Development Programme UNDP, in conjunction with independent corrupt practices and other related offenses ICPC, that we have supported similar initiatives in the past, which cover Sokoto, Delta, Niger, Edo, Kano, Anambra, Imo, Akwa Ibom, Adamawa, and FCT. That initiative was titled Rain People, Rain Paths. That was the video you just watched about twice before the start of this group meeting. Based on the success recorded in these states, we are glad to extend this support to cover 6 states in 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria, and we believe that at the end of this 2 days meeting, your capacity will have been strengthened to be able to engage grassroots with anti-corruption messages, get citizens involved in the budget processes as they affect their daily lives in their communities. And
that's all from this segment. Corruption Must Go continues.
Let's we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they want to.
I must hand for corruption. Corruption not in my country.
So, now, straight to business.
Good.
Now, that case between State versus Femi Wole.
Femi Wole.
Yes.
Is he your son?
That's my apparent.
Did he actually kill the wife?
His juvenile delinquency, they must have taken some few bottles.
A man of 40. Juvenile delinquent?
Now, what do we do? I don't want him to go to jail.
We are very good friends. But for this, I cannot help you.
You know I was so nice to you in school. I took care of you.
I'll politely leave.
No, you can't leave. How much do you want me to pay?
Wale, this is not about money. It's about the law. Bribing a judge to subvert the cause of justice is corruption. Not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
This is Corruption Must Go. While vigorously pursuing its enforcement duties of investigation and prosecution, the Commission has not lost sight of the imperative of preventing corruption. Malam Bala Muhammad is the Director, Planning, Research and Review Department. He explains what the department has done so far in this regard.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they watch you.
And for corruption.
Good morning, sir.
Good
Thank you
morning.
for joining us on Corruption Must Go.
Thank you.
We would like to know what exactly does your department, PRR, do for the commission?
PR is a multifunctional department in the sense that we are both operational and we also take care of routine activities that have to do with making the commission functional. PR itself means planning, research and review. So the planning function of the commission is here, and also the research and review, where the prevention mandate of the commission in terms of trying to prevent corruption. Part of the prevention mandate resides with the department. If you look at the Act, Section 6C, BCD, you will see the fact that the commission has what is called system study and review mandate. And the essence of that is corruption in organizations, most especially government agencies, as a result of agencies not undertaking their mandates based on what they were set up to do, and also not running their agencies in line with government regulations and extant rules. So we conduct what is called system study, which is to scope the agencies, to identify corruption vulnerabilities, and where those vulnerabilities are found, we direct the agencies to change their systems and follow extant rules and regulations and close the gaps that allow public servants to do what is not right in the agencies. So if we have done that, we follow up with reviews, and the reviews are essentially to try to see that the agencies are actually following the new regulations that we have advised them to put in place to check the corruption vulnerabilities. So that is a process that continues after the system study. So it's a two-way process. First, we identify what the vulnerabilities are, and then we advise them, and then we follow up through a review process to ensure that those findings, those recommendations are followed to the letter. That's what we do.
Okay, so let's look at it this way now. Specifically, what are those changes? Just give us example of the changes that you did in organizations that have been reviewed. And if there are changes, is there any mechanism put in place to sustain those changes?
Yes. First and foremost, let me give you some of the agencies. We've looked at various agencies, including Electricity Energy Commission of Nigeria. We've looked at Nigerian Business Service. We've looked at, in the FCT, we've looked at Abuja Environmental Protection Board. We've also looked at Department of Road Traffic Services and Water Board. Fundamentally, we have a system of doing the scoping of the agencies. What we normally do is to look at their structure, their systems and processes. We also do an analysis of the culture within the agency. All organizations are like human beings. They also have their own internal culture, and sometimes some of the internal culture can help create corruption vulnerabilities. So we also do an analysis based on questionnaires that we give to be able to find out what really happens within the agency. We also do stakeholder analysis. For every agency, it has its stakeholders. We want to find out what do they feel about the agency, what are they doing right or wrong, or what could they do better. So in effect, our findings is cumulative in the sense that we look at the mandate of the organization. Is it aligned to provide the function? In other words, do they have the horse before the cart, or is the cart before the horse? Because if the cart is before the horse, then obviously you can't move. The horse has to be in front to pull the cart for you to achieve your objective. And it will interest you to know that in one or two agencies that we did, we discovered a whole lot of anomalies that affected even their enabling acts. Okay, typically, look at the FCT. Their agencies, the Water Board, the AEPB, did not have boards in place, and they were virtually being managed from the Federal Capital Territory. Their personnel functions, their financial functions, and most of their hiring and firing was done, which was very, very abnormal, because you needed to have responsibility and authority tied in one place and create an accountability mechanism to ensure that they don't go beyond that. It's interesting. I think right now, they have made effort to send bills to the National Assembly to be able to find a way to create and make them at least semi-autonomous so that they can discharge the functions that were intended by the creation of those agencies. In another agency, there was also an issue of the fact that in Energy Commission of Nigeria, they had energy centers, Benin, Lagos, Nsukka, that were subsumed within the universities. And what was really happening was that their personnel functions, their financial functions, and what have you, were not in alignment with the commission itself, which was very, very, very wrong and created corruption risk and vulnerabilities. Well, incidentally, the government had already directed that these centers should become part of the Energy Commission of Nigeria. So in one of the system studies that we did, this was our finding, and Energy Commission has taken quite some good step in terms of clearing and bringing these anomalies in tandem with our findings. So what we normally do is we advise, and that's why we have a review process, and the review process takes long. It depends on the finding. There are some that can be immediate. If you go to an agency, like we have found in some agencies, that they don't even have a procurement unit, they should get to Bureau of Public Procurement and get a qualified procurement specialist to come and create a procurement unit, and then ensure that all their procurement of goods and services are in line with the Public Procurement Act 2007. So, and when we do reviews, we follow up to ensure that these things are done, and we check and ensure that things are in place the way they are supposed to be. In financial management, we also found sometimes you have agencies having unretired advances running into millions. You have some having very poor, lax record keeping, and some not following financial regulations in terms of how they expend public funds. So even with such situations, what we do is to use the external rules and regulations and direct them to follow what has been accepted as the proper way to conduct government business. And we follow up on that. We give them directives depending on the specific infraction and how long it will take for them to put in place what government requires in such specific area of
So in essence, you're trying to say that there's checks and balance. You monitor them to ensure compliance.
Yes, that's the essence of the review. That's the review process that we follow.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We understand that also ICPC has a strategic action plan in place. Could you tell us a bit about the plan and the department's role in its implementation?
Yes. Like I said earlier, the PE for the department is planning. In 2013, in 2012, actually, we did a workshop on planning in which we aligned our mandate, our resources, to a specific direction. And in 2013, we kicked off the implementation of the strategic action plan. All we did was to look inwards and determine how best to achieve the mandate of the Commission. In 2013 we started, and we have done quite much. In fact, last month we're in June. In April, we had an implementation retreat in Kaduna, and it was such a successful thing. So in all our key performance indicators, we have done extremely very well. And we have a monitoring evaluation process that is on, and every staff knows his own contribution to the success of the commission. So it's a wonderful experience, and the department has done wonderfully well, and we've had so much commendation from both internally and also donor agencies and what have you, in terms of our resolve to meet up implementation and what we have done as far as we're concerned. So it is going to end in 2017, and we'll have a successor plan from 2018, hopefully.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
You're most welcome.
All right.
Let's we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they watch you.
Come on, hand for corruption.
A former chairman of the state-owned conglomerate that controls majority of the publicly traded units in Hong Kong, Son Ling, has been sentenced to a jail term for corruption, making him one of the most senior managers of the city's Chinese companies to be brought down by financial misdemeanors. Song was sentenced to 14 years imprisonment and fined 4 million yuan by a court in Guangzhou for involvement in financial crimes estimated at 23.3 million yuan. He was said to have served at the China Resources Holding Co. since 1985, rising through the ranks from manager to chairman of the board in 2008. The property and money that he had corruptly acquired during his tenure as head of China Resources will be confiscated. In another development, bribery and corruption have continued to be the bane to business and society. According to the World Bank, an estimate of $1.5 trillion is paid globally in bribes each year. The result is an unlevel playing ground and such adverse consequences as lack of competition, price distortions, delivery of substandard goods and services. Despite efforts on national and international levels to tackle bribery, it remains a significant issue. Recognizing this, the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, has developed a new standard to help organizations fight bribery and promote an ethical business culture. The IOS 37001 Anti-Bribery Management Systems is the first international anti-bribery management system standard designed to help organizations combat bribery risk in their own operations and throughout their value chains. It has the potential to reduce corporate risk and costs related to bribery and providing a manageable business framework for preventing, detecting, and addressing bribery. 2 anti-corruption experts and members of the U.S. Technical Advisory Group that helped create the ISO 37001 believe that the new standard, with its practical emphasis, is the solution. ISO 37001 can be used by any organization, large or small, whether it is in the public, private or voluntary sector, and in any country. It is a flexible tool which can be adapted according to the size and nature of the organization and the bribery risk it faces. I am Robert Ayakpat, reporting for ICPC.
Let's we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they watch you.
Come on, hand for corruption.
It is indeed the duty of ICPC to ensure that public bodies discharge their duties effectively by eliminating corruption-prone processes and blocking leakages in Nigeria's ministries, departments and agencies. That is all we have on this week's edition of the program. Also note that the Commission's various social media platforms are ways by which Nigerians can reach ICPC. We encourage you to use these platforms to make suggestions, comments and ask questions. Such questions will be answered in subsequent editions of the program. Thank you for watching and bye for now.